Okay, my dad, he's gonna forgive me, but I have to punish him.
You were gonna
I really do.
make it big, leave your mark. Oh yeah, oh for sure. That breakout didn't come for another 2 years.
Yeah, guys, it's honestly June the 1st. It's June the 1st, 2024, and I'm really gonna have to punish my dad by posting another video recording this early in the morning, and then calling him. Actually, it's not even this. It's 8:15. Yeah. Well, I guess that's not punishing him in having to tell him that I just recorded another video recording, and I'm about to punish it. I'm about to publish it. I'm about to publish it on YouTube. I don't like bothering him too early in the morning. Communicating with him by means conventional and unconventional. Hold on. So, yeah. So, guys, last night I did publish a video recording, and I was in my right mind when I said everything I said. Everything is factual. Everything was factual when I said it. Still is factual. The video recording, what it revealed. And I want you guys to know that I do get emotional about saying it's wrong when it's wrong. It's wrong, to abuse women. When it's wrong, when you do something, it's wrong. It's wrong. So when I get it, not heated, I did not get heated with anyone. But when I say, when I got a bit loud on it in one of the segments of the video recordings that I published last night, it was dissected in two segments, the video recording, the first part and the second part. In the second part, I'm pretty sure it's in the second part, I did yell for about a couple of seconds, 2, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, whatever it was, and say, no, it's not okay to abuse women. It's not okay to say women are supposed to be, sex slaves, or, to hardworking men, or women are supposed to be sexually available to whoever, makes the great, provides the greatest amount of money or resources, and women ought to be trained to know that's what life is about, men working hard and earning the pleasure that women apparently naturally provide, right? That's wrong. It's wrong to say that the porn industry or the sex work industry is supposed to be fundamental to the United States in the future for money purposes, or for keeping men as happy and sane as possible so they can work hard. It's wrong. It's abusive to women. No matter what you say, objectifying women is wrong. In the long term, it destroys a woman's mind. Demographically, it destroys women's psyche. In the short term, you see young women, they act as young women, and it might mislead men into thinking that that's what women are about. I promise you. Men are very illiterate about a lot of things, a lot of things which are just naturally part of life. I promise you, women are very intelligent, even at times more intelligent than men on a demographic level, based on what I have assessed myself, based on what I've known from the very get-go. The awareness is as high as men, or even higher. And I'm pretty sure their social intelligence is a lot higher than men. So I'm never going to say yes to the porn industry. I'm always going to say hell no to it. I'm never going to be too forceful toward banning, what people consider, sexual entertainment per se on their televisions. I'm not the type of person who's going to advocate being that sort of conservative at all. But what I'm going to say no to, no matter what, is prostitution. What I'm going to say no to is instructive sex work, meaning coerced by government or coerced by pimps, or all of that. All of that is wrong. Pimping, prostitution, government coerced sex work, a fundamental sex work industry that has to be said no to. A predominant sex work industry that has to be said no to. Gaining technology to be able to remove real women from what we consider sex entertainment, or whatever you guys consider it, that people can work on. We don't want real women being professional porn actresses for the rest of their lives. They say, well, that's for the woman to decide. We cannot promote that. We cannot have a culture that literally promotes that. Okay? If a woman makes that decision, then okay. And she makes that decision, but we are not going to promote that, and we are not going to allow it to cultivate as some sort of subculture of the United States that takes women out of colleges and say that's a better route, easy money, fast money, instead of you being intelligent in an office or in front of a classroom, not necessarily, certainly not necessarily a high school classroom, but a college classroom, or being a lawyer or an attorney or politician and so forth. I'm just not gonna allow any industry or any sort of investment guru to say that I'm just not gonna allow any sort of progressive who's conservative on that particular issue to get toward any sort of credibility, because that is almost, it's almost like a trifecta: being progressive as a humanist and being conservative when it comes to women's women's integrity, and in being compromising as needed. That's the trifecta that scares some of the extremist political factions in our country, in the United States, and in the rest of the world. So don't say that I'm some sort of a secret extremist terrorist or extremist conservative when I say no. I'm going to ban the porn industry in Florida. I've made that decision. I'm going to ban sex working in any sort of illustrated way or covert way or express way in the state of Florida, guaranteed. And I'm going to allow America to make the decision when it comes to nationwide policies on that particular issue. But certainly, what we're going to prevent is the predominance of the sex industry when it comes to women at college, women in girls in obviously girls in general, but girls in high school preparing to go to college. They need to know that that's not a viable option. That's not what we are going to train you guys to believe life is about if you get into this sort of situation when there clearly are other opportunities. We are not going to say to a young woman, well, you can work at McDonald's for about a year or two, or maybe for a few months, or you can do this and do that. You can be part of the sex industry, silently. And we promise you, people won't be able to go to this website other than those you like, or those you know, or those who are paying you the most, and this and this. When a young woman says yes to that, especially when she cries about that particular issue first, when she says yes to that, don't take this as meaning that's part of a woman's nature or that's part of the demographic trend of women. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong to guide a woman into making that decision. That's what I'm saying on this particular issue. It's wrong. It's always a guided issue. I'm telling you, most women would say yes to working at a fast food restaurant for a few months or a year or so, or working elsewhere, working at a university as an assistant or a clerical worker, and going into the porn industry. When a woman makes the right decision to saying yes to that, and the FBI shows up and says, no, we cannot allow that. We caught her, as a sorority woman, and this and this and that, and this and this. No. So I'm explaining some of our investigation and our audits and so forth. Beautiful women are being targeted as, toward becoming sex services to federal government employees, the federal agents and so forth, and they always find a reason to get these women to that point. And usually these federal agents, they started out as nerds, and they don't have the gorgeous, beautiful wives that they see. They force these women into becoming sex services for themselves and celebrities and so forth. That's what we have noticed, the trend. And that's what we have audited. And that's a fact in the federal government system. The FBI has been secretly dissolved. Okay? And we are reincorporating it within the federal government system which is now superintended by INTERPOL. We caught them, okay? We caught them. We caught them arresting handsome men on trivial charges or arresting beautiful women and stating that your husband is about to be arrested and he's about to go to jail for 5 years, I need you to prove to me that you're not part of his scheme, you're not part of his criminal activity by dating another man, and I'm just going to have to cover it up by being the first person. I'm telling you what they have done. I'm telling you what they've done. How some of these men have ended up with gorgeous wives who apparently had first husbands. And now they're trying to figure out why their wives have kids with a crazy young African-American man who apparently was born in the Commonwealth of Dominica, Shawn Dexter John. They all have they all have children with me. Okay, the wives of these men who have been escorted and pimping, prostituting young, beautiful African-American women and white women also, who have destroyed the lives of handsome white men, handsome black men, and especially these women, just for their satisfaction, just because they have the, in their minds, they had the power to do so. Okay? Don't say that I'm wrong in doing what I did. I am going to force these men out of this country. They've threatened my life on a consistent basis. These women are going to move forward with me. They're going to train CIA agents and auditors and so forth. We are not going to have that sort of culture in the United States of America. No. So I have a lot of children. I have at least over 1,000 children with beautiful women who are noted as having been strippers and are noted as having been sex services online. I've done a lot of work over the past 15 years. And these women, they're literally going to disappear from the scene. They're going to be trained to nurture and train my kids who are genius prone into lead CIA agents, auditors, and analysts. They don't want their daughters to end up in a situation like that, and they don't want their sons to bite into a situation like that. And if they do, they want to know how to rectify the situation and get them out as soon as possible, and to be able to re-educate them within some sort of a tactical scheme that they have trained them to respond to. Not to get out of trouble and harming those who get them into trouble, but to get out of trouble by rectifying the situation in a just and fair manner, and to never make that mistake again, or just never make that mistake in the first place. But to be completely astute and proficient in doing the job of the federal government of the United States and getting to the point of managing the United Nations officially, especially when it becomes world government in 2044, with me, their father, as the first elected world president. However much I'm altered in look. Okay, so I honestly do have over 3,000 kids. I've procreated with women all over the world to the point of having almost, well, I'm pretty sure it's over 3,000 kids. I still do have to do the confirmation, this and that, but I'm pretty sure of it. Okay? In or around 3,000 kids, biological and genetic children of mine, solely mine as the father, the parenting male. All right? It's not something to brag about, but I'm explaining to you guys why my daughters in heaven, my angels, the mothers of my original daughters, the 3,000 angels, and my royal children, why we dream into earth as a team. Okay? We are trained to get through what I've gotten through, what these women have gotten through, and to our souls have trained for it. We have earned a right to be able to bounce back in ways that apparently ordinary folks would not be able to easily bounce back from. It's hard to explain. It's top secret still. It's top secret. It is it's interdimensional, interuniversal at this point. Well, obviously not just at this point, but it's interuniversal, interdimensional. This is how things work. This is how things work. The soul, especially the soul, is trained to not make the same mistakes over and over and over again. The soul is trained to learn from its mistakes and to remember the pain that it went through and having made mistakes and having been caught by the system, by God or Satan. toward not making that same sort of mistake in the future, in future lives. When people work hard toward becoming perfect at being good, the soul remembers that. It's called soul memory. Every person has a soul, and the soul is what lives forever. When it comes to human beings, the soul is what lives forever. When it comes to being in heaven, the soul and the body lives forever. But human beings in general, the soul lives forever. And the soul has soul memory, and it learns. And the older the soul and the more it has endured, the wiser and more intelligent and more knowledgeable the soul is, and it's reflected in every life, more and more and more so. So I have my kids in the city of God and angels in the second dimension. I have them working 24 hours a day, at times months on end. Okay? Their souls are trained to be able to bounce back the way Kobe Bryant bounced back. I gave Kobe Bryant the number 8 number, and I had him change it to number 24. And now he knows that for a fact. Okay? He knows that for a fact. I told him, he's trying to figure out when he decided to change the number to 24. But I said, well, Kobe, you work so hard for a reason. You're covering up something. I have you guys in heaven, my children, my royal children, working 24 hours a day, months on end, without getting any sort of sleep. That's possible in heaven. Zoe, my royal children's grandmother, my angel's mother, technically speaking, genetic-wise, she's the slave master, she's the slave driver. Okay? Zoe Saldana, that's what we do in heaven. We train our children and grandchildren into exhaustion so that their soul has soul memory to be able to get through anything that an operation and a rescue operation requires of us. Okay, so how Kobe Bryant bounced back from what he went through, the federal agents just could not figure it out. He kept waking up every day, motivated toward doing what was impossible. Okay? When he went through the accusations, the false accusations, and this and this and that. He's made mistakes since then, but I'm telling you, he was completely innocent back then, and they did not know why he was working 24 hours a day often. They did not know why he did not give up. They gave him a settlement of $10 million and told him move on with his life and just act injured for the rest of his life, and they did not know why he was still motivated. They did not know why he was psychotic. To them, he did not make sense. Why he refused to accept the settlement of a year in prison and $10 million for the rest of his life, or just $10 million for the rest of your life, and just fake your injury for the rest of your life, and so forth. And he said no to all of it. Okay? We programmed him. We programmed him to get through what he got through. Okay? I programmed him to be able to get through what he got through. Okay? He's going to be lead agent in 500 years, lead agent of Central Intelligence for 10,000 years, beginning in 500 years. He's not going to play sports anymore. That's going to be a thing of the past. He's not going to be a pharaoh ever again, and this and this and that. He's just going to be a lead agent for 10,000 years. His personality, he's very driven to be lead at all times. He was Joe Louis. Kobe Bryant was Joe Louis, and even though he has a soft predisposition, he's very lethal when it comes to his work ethics and his expectations. That's his predisposition. That's what his soul has earned. And being, second eldest amongst my children, with Menelik, Haile Selassie, being a million years older than him, my son, my holy son, Haile Selassie Menelik, is going to be God over the next universe we create. He's a million years plus older than Kobe. But I had Kobe, my second eldest, soul-wise, a cover for Menelik, and I trained him toward becoming that type of person so we could hide Menelik from everyone else, because I just could not reveal to them that he was almost identical to me in age, only 100,000 years younger, and that he's from his own galaxy and so forth, and that was intersected within my original galaxy and so forth. But anyway, I hid him as much as possible. But anyway, 24 hours a day. That's the reason why. But anyway, there's no night and day in heaven. In heaven, there's no night and day. There's just day in the second dimension, and in the high universe, there's twilight, daylight. It's day, but it's twilightish until it's time for us to lit up everything. First, it's going to be every Sunday, and then we have stuff we have to look for the rest of eternity. Everything looks completely bright in the high universe, but it's what everyone waits until Sunday for everything to become completely and shockingly bright. And then it goes back to twilight so everyone can enjoy the Christmas festivities for the rest of eternity. The happiness that comes with the Christmas festivities we have in the high universe at all times. Everyone is always on the high, elated to be amongst each other for the rest of eternity. And when we do have Sunday, a break from that sort of feeling without any sort of negative feeling itself, but enjoyment of the light, what we're going to look forward to for the rest of eternity when we integrate that great feeling and light at the same time. Okay, so that's why going through what we go through as human beings, whether we are dreaming into this world as human beings, or whether we are just native to this world, ready to get into heaven, this is what earning, getting through the hardships and the trials and tribulations is all about. Being able to be happy for the rest of eternity and looking forward to the next level of happiness. Okay? The next level of happiness. There's a lot to look forward to. A lot to look forward to for the rest of eternity. It's worth being as good as possible to be able to get into heaven as soon as possible, to train yourself further to be able to get to the next level as soon as possible. It's good to work hard toward being as good as possible. I want that message to resonate. Okay? So everyone will be able to get into heaven over the next 500 years. Everyone here on earth is constellation, and for the succeeding 500 years, the rest of the universe. But this is what I'm telling you. If you commit to being good, this and that, you will wake up in heaven if you have met the minimum standard earlier than if you had not been clinically or chronologically or intently good. At the end of your life, you wake up in heaven. Heaven is real, okay? And the system itself, when we say God has so much mercy, with me having endorsed the system, the blueprint which was originally given to me, and the system I created out of the original blueprint, this was good. Even if you don't get into heaven at the end of this life, your soul lives forever, and you're going to reincarnate, given another opportunity to gain more merits towards those ends. Okay? So when you die in this life, okay, if you don't earn enough to be able to wake up in heaven, you earn enough by automation to be able to have a next life. If you're an evil person, if you intend to be evil and you've been pathologically evil, you're going to get an opportunity in the next life to be pathologically good. Okay, and if you get away with murder and you're happy that you got away with murder, trust me, in the next life, you're going to be murdered. Okay? So I want you guys to understand this. There's no point in not becoming good, in not asking for forgiveness when you make mistakes. There's no point in finding people who say you need to pay up after they have given you so many opportunities to become a good person, and you refuse to become a good person because you refuse to believe that you haven't been bad in making the mistakes you have made. Have you deserve? Communicates that you actually deserve the punishment that you're supposed to go through, apparently based on standards of the law here in the United States of America or elsewhere. Okay? I don't expect anyone to make a mistake or to commit a crime to walk in and say, please, I don't expect anyone to commit a crime or make a mistake and say, I walk into any hospital and ask to be taken into jail or to be officially arrested and prosecuted in this. I don't expect anyone to do that. But in a situation like that, in certain situations like the situation of LeBron James, he admitted to having murdered a little girl, underage female, And he was given a slap in the wrist because he was instructed to do so by rogue federal agents of the FBI, who convinced him that he was part of some sort of drug gang war between Cleveland and Chicago, and she was messing with the turf and stuff. He was brainwashed ever since a kid to think gangsterism was okay, especially for black people. We did not have mercy on him per se. This is what we did. We said the judge of the respective case, it was internally mediated, sentenced him to 5 years, and then it was recommended that he get re-audited, let him go on work release, and we'll decide if we need to extend the sentence because it seems too lenient. And he perceives that, maybe him and the federal agents perceived that as a get out of jail card, and when they sealed it, they said, well, the next step is to expunge it, and then the next step is to remove all evidence that there was a case in the first place. That's what transpired. We've given this young man so many opportunities to become a better person, to ask for forgiveness, and to stop saying that the rape victims regarding the other case are the ones who are going to decide if he ought to be forgiven, if he should be able to get away with the crime that he got away with, other than the other crimes that they're attached to. That sort of artificial ego, that sort of egregious ego requires what I'm going to do to this young man. No rape victim or purported accuser who was communicated at one point in her life, back then and now, that LeBron James is a criminal rapist who criminally raped her and or other women and girls will be able to get LeBron James out of trouble. This is what I'm gonna do to this young man. No matter what you go, you guys can say jealous all the fuck you guys want to say jealous. This is what I'm gonna do to this young man. He's gonna fake his death on June the 23rd or the 24th, or immediately thereafter. What happens in Manhattan is going to happen, and it's going to give him the opportunity to believe everything that I say about being Jesus Christ, God himself. He's going to run to upstate New York, not Western New York per se. Well, I guess that's sort of close enough. But he's going to run to upstate New York. They're going to beg him to stage some sort of gang fight with rappers who are certainly going to go to jail with him. And then he's going to end up at Clinton Correctional Facility. And they're going to torment him, torture him to death, until he says yes to losing his leg and requesting no implant and requesting no sort of apparatus which has him appear to have 2 legs. He's going to say yes to sitting in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. Then he's going to say yes to me having all of the teeth pulled out of his mouth. He's going to have a gold grill by the time I'm done with them. Okay? He's not going to file any charges. He keeps signing fake documents saying that he's defamation charges and defamation claims, all sorts of stuff. He's a mental retard at this particular point. We don't take him seriously, other than him showing up to paying up for his crimes and being pathologically criminal, pathologically egotistic, and being that shockingly criminal. But anyway, he's going to spend about a year in prison. When he figures out that we are serious, that everyone is serious, he's going to beg to have his leg amputated, and then he's going to be in a wheelchair for the rest of his life, and then he's going to move to Canada. He's going to get tattoos, a few tattoos on his face. He's going to have a gold grill, and they're going to break his back. The doctors are going to break his back. They're going to make it very uncomfortable for him to try to get up out of that wheelchair with one leg, whether he has a prosthetic on that removed leg or not. And then he's going to start acting paraplegic when he sees that I and the CIA are going to be eternally serious until he keeps his mouth shut and he shows that he has regretted that mistake and the many mistakes that he has made. He literally raped each and every one of the NBA stars who first entered the NBA with him or immediately thereafter toward getting all of the funds from all of the money associated with their guaranteed contracts so he wouldn't have to rape their wives anymore. Just so that he can get to $1 billion to be able to rectify any sort of situation that he gets himself into. He got arrested for drug charges when he first got into the NBA. He